So hello and welcome to today's video. Now a while back I did a video about one fact about every story mission in Bully. Well today I'm going to be doing one fact about every side mission instead. So much like the last video we'll be going in order by chapter, and we'll begin with chapter 1's missions and we'll start off with character sheets. The entire concept behind the character sheets mission is actually based off some real life experiences from the team who worked on Bully. During an interview with EGM, Bully's producer Geronimo Barria stated this: "There's actually a mission in the game called Character Sheets where the bullies steal the character sheets for the grottos and gremlins from the nerds and you have to go and get them back." You're always reading these interviews with Legend of Zelda creator Shigeru Miyamoto and how his childhood inspired him to make games like Zelda and things like that. It's kind of the same idea that art designers had with Bully, like take what happened to you as a kid and figure out how to make it fun and playable. For some reason, if the diary is attempted in chapter 3, Beatrice will not be wearing her winter outfit but rather her usual one. This is apparently because her cutscene model used for this particular cutscene is modelled to have cold sores on her face like she mentions, and was never really updated for winter. The Big Prank is the only mission in the entire game that can be skipped entirely without any risks to being locked out of 100% completion. It still can never ever be replayed however. During development, after beating Panty Raid, one of the mission rewards was going to include a pair of pink girl's underwear Jimmy would wear over his head, which was probably removed for being a bit too sexual in nature. If you decide to beat Weed Killer before Jimmy gets expelled in Chapter 5, for some strange reason Harrington House will be unlocked in free mode after you've beaten Gary Smith. The reasoning behind this is unknown, but you can use this to access a spray gun in free mode without any mods at all. Despite being an optional side mission, no challenge is basically required if you're looking to get all rubber bands and Grottos and Gremlins cards, as they're both located inside the basement bedroom, which is locked until Jimmy beats this mission. But luckily you can just run and grab the radio transistor for the hobo without beating this mission if you don't want to. As far as I'm aware, no other mission locks collectibles behind interiors like this. Now Cook's Crush has a similarity with the mission That Bitch. Both missions require Jimmy to have chocolates, but if Jimmy doesn't have any, he can find Fatty and buy some off him, which is unusual since by the time this mission is available, the shops are already available, meaning there's very little to no reason why Jimmy needs to find Fatty. During development, Comet Klepto was originally one of the first missions to be played in Chapter 2, most likely implying it was going to give the player a reason to leave school grounds, but most likely dropped as a main mission as it doesn't serve much use as last minute shopping does. If you get knocked out in Greaser's challenge, you get a unique ending cutscene where Norton Williams kicks Jimmy out of the building and Jimmy doesn't restart at the hospital either. Now Cook's date has the most shocking moment in the entire game. After completing this moment, we learn that Edna flat out date rapes Dr. Watts by drugging his drink. And this is actually very heavily implied if you pay attention to Cook's Crush, where she did ask Jimmy to acquire sedatives. Why anybody needs sedatives when they're going on a date? It does raise a red flag. But this kind of stuff is usually off limits for Rockstar. They wouldn't do anything similar to rape until Red Dead Redemption 2, where something similar can happen to Arthur Morgan if he stumbles into a certain cabin. Discreet Deliveries is the most incomplete and buggiest mission in the entire game, as this mission is plagued with more bugs than Fallout 76 was at its launch. For a start off, Donald is completely invincible after delivering the products to the clients. The camera bugs and stays locked on them, regardless if you get into a fight or not. If any of the customers get aggressive, even if not caused by Jimmy, the mission fails. And since two of the customers are Mr. Burton and Mr. Wiggins, they'll still give chase to Jimmy even if he gets any trouble meter points. And the ending scene is so poorly done it's made up of already existing quotes. Oh, and it also doesn't display any subtitles either, despite the fact this mission was clearly planned way ahead of schedule as it did appear in a pre-release PS2 trailer for Bully. There is a game-breaking glitch on the PlayStation versions of Glasshouse that lets you see the unused time cycles for winter, spring and autumn. As soon as the mission is beaten, let Jimmy get busted during the mission complete screen. The game will bug out and you cannot break free, but rather than respawn at the police station, Jimmy will just remain on the ground, knocked out. And using this you can skip past 2 AM and witness the unused time cycles for 2 AM to 8 AM. And yes, this did confirm that Bully originally had a 24-hour clock like GTA has, rather than a time limit of 8 AM to 2 AM every day. Have you ever wondered why the Jock safe house has 2 doors that are never used? Well, it's because initially Jimmy would fight waves of jocks in the clubhouse rather than play dodgeball with them. One of the questions that people have about Here's to You Ms. Phillips is why Peanut and the other greasers are hostile to you in this mission, despite the fact it takes place in Chapter 4 and Jimmy has 100% respect for the greasers. Well, that's because initially it took place in Chapter 3, and the mission concept was a bit different. Jimmy would be racing against Peanut and defending Ms. Phillips' belongings from him, as Peanut also wanted to get her items, believing he could impress her enough to score a date with her, like Jimmy did. In Galloway Away, if you use the Black Ninja costume, Jimmy can be completely ignored by the orderlies. This never happens in any other mission, as usually the curfew trespassing benefit is removed for any missions the player attempts, just not this one for some reason. Originally, like all click challenges, this mission was split up into 3 mini missions, and part 1 of the Townie challenge would have you beating up Townies in the parking lot with Bo Jackson, who for some reason are going around smashing up the staff's cars. Originally, Mailbox Armageddon was not going to be a mission at all, but rather a side activity Jimmy could partake in, as identified by the files, which have at least 5 different levels for this activity, each giving Jimmy a stricter time limit and more mailboxes to smash. It's most likely changed to one specific mission, as it's far too similar for the paper route activity, right down to even travelling near identical paths and both minigames needing you to hit a mailbox. Bonus fact about this mission is it may have been given to you by Peanut, not Clint, and it would have been accessed near the gas station in Bullworth Town where the greasers hang out. This would explain why Jimmy teleports halfway across the map when starting this mission. Despite being the finale in the Hattrick vs Galloway saga, Cheating Time was originally going to be the 3rd mission, taking place in Chapter 3 after Glass House, and the following missions are Mr. Galloway being incarcerated at Happy Vault, but actually Hattrick's revenge on Galloway and Ms. Phillips. This has probably changed because the endings for Galloway Away and Here's to You Ms. Phillips don't really have any comeuppance or defeat of any kind for Hattrick. The Collector, despite being cut from the PlayStation 2 version of Bully, still appears in the 2006 Christmas trailer for the game, and while it was re-added to the Scholarship Edition and Anniversary Editions of the game, the one thing that sticks out horribly is how the mission is started in Blue Skies, yet the cutscene takes place in New Coventry, then teleports Jimmy back to Blue Skies after the cutscene is done. What's weirder is, this was actually fixed on the Wii version of the game, where the cutscene actually takes place in Blue Skies near the mission marker, but it was then unfixed for Anniversary Edition for some unknown reason. Despite Jimmy canonically getting Zoe as his girlfriend at the end of the main game, Zoe is not kissable at all in free mode until Smash It Up is beaten. Jimmy can still greet her, and Zoe reacts positively, but romancing her is not an option. The only other way to kiss Zoe before this is to have beaten Art Class 5. And so that's one fact about every side mission in Bully. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Bully based content or reviews of other Rockstar games. So thanks for watching and have a great day.